Well, good day, Lounge family. It is so good to have you once again watching this, whether you are streamed in live or watching the playback on our YouTube channel. I just want to encourage all of you this week with this short teaching today. We are getting into the holiday season. We're in full swing of the holiday season, rather. It is Christmas week at the time of this recording. And I hope that all of your gifts are under the tree. And if they are not in from Amazon, you probably will not be getting them this week. But I want to encourage you today with this word on empathy. Okay, empathy is typically not a word that you are going to automatically think of when you think of leadership. But it is such an important topic that we want to talk about today. And the over thing today is this: leadership isn't always about giving instruction. Leadership is oftentimes about listening. Okay, leadership isn't always about giving instruction, giving direction, calling shots, making decisions. Sometimes leadership is about listening. This whole concept of inquiring over instructing, asking questions, caring, having a culture of care to your employees. Now, not caring to the extent that you simply wipe away maybe someone's wrongdoings or certain actions that maybe hinder the mission. It doesn't wipe those away. It doesn't excuse that. But empathy, what empathy is, it's getting in someone's heart and soul, their mind, and attempting to understand why they did what they did, why they said what they said, why they moved, how they moved. Matter of fact, empathy, the origin of the word, it doesn't just mean to feel with someone. We always think of sympathy as feeling for someone. Empathy, we think of oftentimes as feeling with someone. And of course, that is part of empathy. But empathy, the origin of the word actually takes it a level deeper. Empathy means to feel in someone. In other words, to see through their lens, to understand how they understand, to understand and really grasp their perspective, why they did what they did. Again, it doesn't excuse what they did. It doesn't excuse it or justify it, but it allows you to, as a leader, to show them that you care and that you care to understand. So empathy goes a long way as a leader. It means to feel in someone, to see through their eyes, right? Or you can say to feel with, as a general understanding what empathy is. So why does it matter? Here are a few things. Empathy allows us to feel safe with our failures because we won't simply be blamed for them. So we feel safe to fail when someone empathizes with us, and we won't just feel like they're going to point their fingers, blame, correct, confront, and then move on. We know that when we fail, there's going to be some level of grace. There will be some level of correction, of course, as there ought to be, but there will be an attempted understanding, which goes a long way. So empathy allows us to feel safe with our failures because we won't simply and solely be just blamed for them. Empathy encourages leaders to understand the root cause behind the poor performance. It allows us to get down deep into the root levels of why they performed poorly. It gives us a greater understanding. And it allows us as a leader to look within as well, our systems, processes, structure, maybe our structure of accountability, our cultural systems as well, and say, okay, as a leader, how can I do better on the front end of things at the root level to maybe create some type of process to where maybe this doesn't happen. Maybe I just need to take some personal accountability as well. But it allows us to understand the root cause behind poor performance, excuse me, maybe even in their own life. Maybe there's something happening in their lives that as a leader, you might need to show some care for, at least some understanding. Maybe it's not where you get completely involved in their personal lives and their personal matters. Maybe you're in a certain context or a culture to where you can, show a little bit of care, but it at least gives you some understanding of why they're doing what they're doing or where they're coming from. We all need a level of grace, and we all need empathy. We all come from different contexts and situations, and it would just give you a better understanding why they're doing what they're doing. Next point, being empathetic allows leaders to help struggling employees improve and excel. So it allows you to get on their level to where we can both move where we need to move together. I have a little puppy. Her name's Daisy. She's not even 2 years old. And each evening we tell our two pups, it's time to go to bed. So, they have a little area where they sleep in. And they know that once they get in that area, the gate's going to be shut and they're not going to be able to run around the house anymore. So there's a natural level of hesitancy, specifically with Daisy on getting to that place. Because she doesn't like to be, confined, or she just doesn't want to go to this place of what I would call rest and safety. She just sees it as she has to get outside of her comfort zone and get to this place. Well, what I have to do, with one of our puppies, Coop, I just say, hey, it's time to go to bed, and he runs to this place. But with Daisy, what she requires is, it's funny, but I get a treat, of course, and then I have to kind of get down on my knees and lay my head low, and then she runs up to me and then runs to her place of rest. But it isn't until I get down on her level that she gets to where we both know that she needs to go. And on one side, as her leader, instructor, I could get frustrated and just pick her up and just coerce or just move her to this place. Or I can understand that I am 10 to 15 times her size, and all that she sees from the front end is this man or this figure rather, that's in a larger position, just telling her what to do. It can be sometimes a little bit intimidating, or there's not a natural level, or there's not an acquired level of trust yet in that moment. My point is, sometimes those who we lead, our team members, we need to get down on their level, go low, go humbly, approach them, and then we can move to where we need to move. But empathy is about getting on someone's level, not that they're lower than you, but oftentimes up front, it seems like, they might be asking, can I really trust? Or they might be thinking that as a leader, leaders only do things for their benefit. But when we show them that we can get down, and in other words, that we care. You might have heard the quote before, but people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Having a culture of care goes a long way. Getting down on someone's level and understanding, it goes a long way. Okay. Next point, you gain a greater awareness of the needs of your employees when you listen to understand and not listen to reply. Listening to understand is what we should all aim to go for. You know how it is, sometimes you're in meetings and you're listening, but you don't really hear them, or you hear them, but you're not really listening. You're only listening to the next statement you have written in your mind that you need to reply to them with. But when we listen to understand, it shows again that you care and you are attempting to see their side. And each time that you reply prematurely or interrupt them, it lays another brick in their wall that they've already started building naturally as a human for protection. So we want to do our best job to minimize or eliminate the process of bricklaying that we all have. So don't interrupt them. Don't reply prematurely. Don't only think about what you're going to say next. We need to be sure that we are listening to understand, not listening to only respond. Empathy allows you to create an environment of open communication and more effective feedback. So again, that just continues to affirm my point on being humble as a leader, because we all need feedback, and it creates an honest, open, and transparent environment. Okay, we call it a HOT environment, HOT, honest, open, transparent. Okay. We need to create more dialogue in our leadership, by the way, not always a one-way street. Okay, next point. It allows us to understand and explore problems that employees face and how to help them resolve them. So I'll read it again, then I'll explain it. It allows us to understand and explore problems that employees face and how to help them resolve them. It's really easy as a leader to sit in your seat and not be on ground level because you're not on ground level with your staff. You don't understand the problems that they're facing. Maybe you did at one point because you were on that level. You were boots on the ground every day. You were hands-on each thing, but maybe now you don't, because maybe you're making a little bit more of a high-level executive decisions, etc., which I understand. But if you never give your employees or your team members a chance to speak to what they're going through and what's happening day to day, because times have changed, there are new situations, the season's different. If you never give them a place to talk about those things, you'll never have a true understanding of what they're going through. Okay, so it matters. It matters that they know that you care. It matters that you understand what they're going through. So giving them a safe place to talk about it and to help them resolve with the wisdom that you carry, because you've been through the similar seasons. You've been driven by the principles to get you through certain seasons. Maybe situations are different nowadays, but there are principles that you can share and nuggets of wisdom that you can share with them to help them get on the other side. And again, they really value a leader and an organization that has a leader that understands. Okay, that's part of empathy. It's not only crying with those who cry. Empathy is simply about understanding by and large. Okay, so it allows us to understand and explore problems that employees face and how to help them resolve them. So lead them, serve them, give them wisdom, give them insight, give them assistance and help. Okay, next point. Being empathetic with your employees helps to validate what they're going through. People oftentimes just want to feel seen. It matters. So one thing that I'll try to say to people who I lead is, hey, bro, like, I see you. I see you. I know what you're going through. And I just want to say, I really respect the effort you're putting in here. I admire it. You inspire me. I just really honor you today as a leader, because I know that there are things that are happening that I don't always know, through and through. But I just want to let you know I see you. Man, it goes a long way. Okay, people want to be seen. They desire to be seen. So that matters. Okay. Okay, a couple extra points here. Empathy builds relationship and trust. That's what you want as a leader, as a servant leader. You want to have that relational equity, because you're going to go through, on one side, you're going to go through some challenging, seasons in business and ministry and, whatever industry that you're in. And you want to have people that have your back, or you want to, be led by somebody who, has your back and your best interest in mind, as long as, or in, coupled with the mission of the organization, of course. But as a leader, people need to feel like you are trustworthy. It matters because there will be some there will be some intense times that you make certain calls, and you want that trust from your team. Okay. When somebody here's another point, when somebody makes maybe a certain reactive or rash decision, or a decision that you disagree with, or maybe they, got intense with another employee verbally, maybe, I don't know, was late to a certain meeting. Now, if you know me, I can't stand being late, but here is a very validating statement. And don't say it if you don't mean it, but this is where empathy should really kick in. Saying this, and I quote, "I can totally see why you did that. I can totally understand why you did that." Now, again, it doesn't excuse or just, but just letting somebody know, I can totally see why you did that. It goes a long way. It makes someone feel seen and understood. And again, we all need a little grace. Coming from one of the most black and white guys that you might know, I need this at times, and I know you do as well. I can totally see why you did that. By the way, here's a big point. Understanding is not agreement. Okay? Understanding why someone did it is not agreeing with their decision to do that. Understanding is not agreement. You can understand why they did it and not agree. You can correct and give them wisdom, maybe some advice and counsel on it, but first validating that you can understand why they did what they did. But again, it's not agreement, because at first glance, to that thought, in my mind, I said, I can't understand it if I don't agree with it. And I was like, wait, I can understand, but not agree. Okay. I wish I had more time to work that right there. When you understand and see their side, it doesn't just affirm them in the moment. It allows you to help them moving forward. When you understand and see their side, it doesn't just affirm them in the moment. It allows you to understand. It allows you to help them moving forward. Okay, so again, it builds that trust. It lays the foundation to where now you can speak some counsel and wisdom on them moving forward. So maybe that decision doesn't happen again. And all of this results, empathy results. The result of empathy is somebody feeling seen, personal and greater fulfillment for them, and then of course greater impact personally and professionally. So empathy matters. We should spend more time as leaders listening than talking. That goes a long way. Again, back to our original thought. Leadership isn't always about giving instruction. It is sometimes about simply listening. And if you listen hard enough, you listen long enough, you listen deeply enough, you'll have a greater understanding why people do what they do, or why they are who they are. And as a leader, that ought to matter a whole heck of a lot to us. That servant leadership. Okay. Empathy. We should inquire over instruct. We should instruct, of course, give direction with clarity, but we ought to inquire and care a whole lot. Okay. I hope that encourages you today. I cannot wait to see you next time. In the meantime, have a wonderful, merry, and blessed Christmas. I love you dearly. We'll see you later.